goes to like burning herself to kind of keep herself awake, and you kind of see just how tormented these kids are. They don't want to go to sleep because this is awful. I mean, drinking dried coffee, they're taking shifts to just not go to sleep. And again, that's what makes Freddy great. I mean, let's be real. Hey everybody, welcome to Blood and Donuts. I'm Tony.
And I'm Chris. What's up, everybody? How we doing out there?
Yeah, how we doing? Here at the Blood and Donuts podcast, we always start with an overview, facts, and our first impressions. Then Chris and I will give our donut rating, and after that, we go into a scene-by-scene discussion full of spoilers. But don't worry, we let you know before we do that. Chris, how does that donut rating work?
So we rate our movies on a scale of 1 to 13 donuts. So 1 through 4 is terrible. We're not going to recommend that one to you. 5 through 8, that's kind of like our mid-range. It's worth a watch if you have time. It's not terrible, but it's not great. 9 through 12 is great. You would definitely want to check out a 9 through 12, even if you need to rent it. And Tony, a 13, that's our baker's dozen. That's pretty rare. We would consider that a perfect horror film, maybe even in the discussion for best of all time.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. It's a 1987 American fantasy slasher film directed by Chuck Russell in his feature directorial debut. The story picks up with a group of troubled teenagers at Weston Hills Psychiatric Hospital, all plagued by reoccurring nightmares of Freddy Krueger. Unlike past victims, these teens discover that they can tap into unique powers while dreaming, transforming into Dream Warriors who can fight back against Freddy on his own turf.
Pretty cool concept of a movie, right? I mean, you have to kind of do something with this series, and I think they took it in a pretty unique direction. What do you think?
Dude, I love it. I love this. I love the direction they went. After the failed second film, where they took Freddy, instead of the best thing about Freddy, I've always said it, is Freddy haunting your dreams, and then people being able to see the human who's still sleeping being haunted by Freddy, and they're powerless against it. They brought that back. Yep. They gave Freddy a backstory. It doesn't get any better than that. They brought back the old characters. Here's Nancy Thompson, so we have a story for her. I think they did great, and Freddy is just the right amount of slapstick here. He starts to get a little bit slightly the later films he gets really slapstick, but I think this is the perfect balance here. I love the special effects in this one. Again, I hold Dream Warriors in high regards. I really love this film, and I loved watching it and revisiting this.
Yeah, it's been a good, it's been a good 20 years since I've seen this. I feel like all these older sequels that we're revisiting this time of year, I just haven't seen in such a long time. And some of that is, it's kind of good because I kind of get to re-experience it again, because I've seen this movie before.
As a kid.
And then as I was watching it, I was like, I remember that. Yeah. And that stayed with me. Like, I couldn't pinpoint where I would remember it, but when I saw the scene, and in particular, this was the one where he was getting controlled with his flesh.
That's my favorite.
Whatever.
That's my favorite.
I was like, oh my God, I remember that. And it's still just as
when
right
Freddy was playing, dude, like a marionette puppet, and like how did you just go? And then and all the kids are just staring on, like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love that.
I was like, go back to sleep. Yeah.
I feel like the television is probably the most iconic one, but as far as this one goes, but to me, my favorite's the marionette. I mean, I love that one.
Man, we talk about like this director here, he didn't really, as I was kind of doing some research on him, he really didn't have a great big body of work, but one that stood out to me was like he did The Mask.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jim Carrey and stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the writers for this one, Frank Darabont, that might be a name that you recognize. That is a name familiar, similar to with like Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
He wrote, he was a writer on The Mist. The Walking Dead season 1, he was like the showrunner for that great first season of The Walking Dead. So I know we talk about directors and stuff a lot, but one of the writers for this thing was a really a standout writer as well.
Yeah, you're right. Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont. They came to Wes Craven. They said, "Man, we're sorry. We apologize. We want to make right because that second film it almost killed the franchise. To be honest with you, it wasn't financially a disaster, but critically, the fans were pissed. Critics didn't really like it. So they went to Wes Craven and they said, hey, would you be willing to be a part of this one? And surprisingly, he said yes. And he said, I was interested in bringing Freddy into another direction, but also I wanted to get some of those financial credits. He wanted to get some of the points on these films to get that future Freddy money. His original contract didn't have that, so he wanted to renegotiate that. So he got that executive producer title on this one. He handed in a script, but you're right. Darabont and Chuck Russell pretty much wrote this film. They took what he handed in, which was a much darker toned, crazy. I mean, Freddy was very vulgar. Instead of the B word, he was saying the C word, lots of F's, lots of defecating and stuff like that. That original script was very dark. They turned it into this, and that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too. It's really toned down. It's toned down from what you were just talking about for sure. And it probably wouldn't have stuck with teenagers and stuff if it was just super over the top like that. But like rewatching it today, it was just like the right amount of punchy Freddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And you do see the elements of Wes Craven. I think he had a big hand in bringing Langenkamp back, which I have to say, I thought about you because you're in the first film. One of your big critiques, you don't think Heather Langenkamp is the best actress. And
now, granted, like in my defense, that first movie, there was a few actors. She was one of them, and I think I recall saying in certain scenes where she's like walking through the boiler room, it's really well acted. But then some of the vocal dialogue, you're just like, man.
I've heard that critique from several people, but Chris, I feel like I'm qualified to talk about Heather Langenkamp since I have met her in person, and I did talk to her for about 15 minutes at Nashville HorrorCon just a couple of months ago. That is how she talks in real life. That's who she is. You know what I mean? Like she has that real like that Heather Langenkamp speak. And so it just, she talks just like she does in the movie. And I do see where you're coming from, but I think she's just fine. But talking about actresses, how about Patricia Arquette? I mean, this is her first role. Yeah. She would go on. When I was a kid, I had a DVD called Stigmata, where she was like a party girl who started to get the stigmata of Christ, and she was getting haunted in that type of way. It was crazy. She's such a good actress. She's on Severance, which is one of my favorite shows that me and my wife watch on Apple TV. She's such a good actress. All the kids had a crush on her on the set, they said, but what a wonderful actress.
Yeah, and really, like, I feel like they picked her too. Her scream is such a good horror scream.
Yeah.
Listen to your mother.
You know how even the dude from the second one, right? Like I can't recall his name, but he had a great scream. But this, I mean, this for a final girl, because she's kind of like co-final girl, right? With Heather.
Yeah. She has to share duties, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. But yeah, I thought she did a great job as an actress here.
We got final boys too, because you got the whole Dream Warriors team. I'm going to kind of run down what we have here. We got Kristen Parker, who is Patricia Arquette. Her power is she can pull people into her dreams,
and she can do flips,
and she can do cartwheels.
Don't forget the cartwheels.
Okay, some of these are a little goofy. I give you that. You got Roland Kincaid, who has superhuman strength. He also says some of the funniest lines in this.
Lifestyle of the rich and psychotics. Great, and that's my dick that's killing me.
Somebody tries drugs on me, get his ass. Oh, Freddy, where you hiding at, you burnt face pussy?
Jennifer Caulfield, Penelope Sudrow. She aspires to be an actress, but we don't get to see her dream power, and we'll get to that in spoilers. Yeah. I wonder what it was, though.
Yeah, who knows?
Phillip,
she was good at putting cigarette burns on her arm.
That's what it like. Maybe she could just like if he like torches her or something like that, and she could just take it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
She could stand up.
Yeah, of course. That's it. You got it, dude. You got Philip Anderson. He's played by Bradley Gregg. He's an aspiring artist. We don't get to see his dream power either. Don't know what it is. Yeah. It's definitely not flying. All right, and then we got Taryn White, played by Jennifer Rubin. She's a punk warrior with switchblades in the dream world.
and she's beautiful and bad in her.
Oh
dreams,
yeah, and I'm beautiful and I'm bad.
and bad.
And
Hey, I do like her confrontation with Freddy though.
Oh yeah,
Let's dance, asshole.
So 80s. It is so there's 80s all over.
It really is.
So when a teenager saw that, they were like, "Ooh, that's cool." You know what I mean? Like you remember like Bebop and Rocksteady and stuff. Like those were like
they put their boombox down. They were like, "That was awesome."
like man.
Boombox, right?
Oh yeah, they thought like that was cool. And then you got Joey Crusoe, Rodney Eastman. His power was he was mute in real life, but he has a powerful voice. This is kind of a spoiler alert if you haven't seen this. He has a powerful voice in his dreams. He can scream really loud and ends up breaking glass. But what do you think about the Dream Warriors concept? Did I talk about the wizard? Did I get him?
You did not. Because he's in a.
Yeah, I got Will Stanton,
too, right?
Ira Hayden. He's a wheelchair bound in reality, but a wizard master in his dreams, cast spells. Is there any of them that stand out as like a little hokey to you, or were you happy with that, or are you just like, man, it's the '80s, we'll take it?
Part of me was just it's the '80s, we'll take it. The strongman one, that's one that you kind of expect. The ability to pull someone into your dream to help you is good, but like you didn't need the extra.
You didn't need the cartwheels.
I can do cartwheels as well. I thought that part was a little goofy, but I thought everybody else kind of played a role, and they all had a unique personality. So I thought that was a really cool thing to bring to the film.
I didn't like the wizard master specifically.
Sure,
with the Count Chocula, the Count Chocula freaking. Cape or whatever
Cape.
And then he really didn't get anything accomplished. I don't know. It was just it was whatever.
Yeah, he blew up the chair, but then like that was it.
Yeah, I wanted him. It just seemed a little cringy at time. Anyway,
This movie really made you kind of like all these characters, and almost kind of like be sad when they died. Like it wasn't like you weren't really cheering them on. Like in something like a Friday the 13th, you're cheering on Jason to kill these annoying teens, but in this one, you're like kind of pulling for the teens.
Yeah, they did a good job, and it always amazes me in these '80s horror movies that are a tight hour and a half to be able to accomplish all of that. Again, they had to make you like these characters, develop these characters in a very small amount way, a smart way, introduce Heather. Patricia Arquette, the Dreams, all these new characters, and then make this happen. It's and to fit that in a tight knit hour and a half movie, it's a tough job. But a lot of these '80s films do it.
A question for you: do you think that this movie could have been a good first movie, as far as introducing Freddy Krueger and having this? You wouldn't have known Nancy Thompson, right? But she could just be some specialist who happens to know about Freddy, and then. You can have a prequel later on or something like that. I think this could have been a good first film to introduce Freddy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't with the special effects that are in this one, I feel like they upped it so much. I mean, when you look at like the set pieces and stuff, I think they spent $5 million on this film. They made $45 million. I can go back to the original film. I know they didn't have that type of budget, Wes Craven with the original one. Yeah. So when you see the Freddy Snake, the TV, him popping out of the TV, there's some good special effects in the first one. I feel like this one was even more. Built when they built that freaking Nancy Thompson's house that was built in the dreams.
Big room. It was,
Oh yeah, and then you have hell or downstairs in the boiler room type of hell type of thing. Yeah. Just and the stop motion, Freddy's skeleton, the puppet. There's a lot of things that you even forget about. So yeah, I agree. This would be a great first film. It works as a first film, and I think that's what happened.
And it works as a standalone film too. It works as a standalone if say Freddy dies at the end of this thing or whatever. You could like have this as its own little standalone film and be like, man, that movie about that Freddy Krueger guy was pretty good. But he was such a big, pop culture hit that you couldn't really just contain him into one movie. But I'm just saying as a whole, like this could have been a good first movie, and it works as just a movie by itself.
And this one just as much as the first one cemented Freddy Krueger's legacy. He wasn't the wisecracking Freddy Krueger that we know of. Like again, what would you quote from the first one offhand? I know the second one, you know, you got the body, I got the brains, something like that. You know, there's stuff like that. I can't remember anything from the first one. He was really cool. He cut his fingertips off and stuff like that. But this one's very quotable. You got a lot of good Freddy quotes in this one. Remember the one about the bourbon?
I said, where's the fucking bourbon?
I mean, did you not laugh out loud when you heard that?
Yes, I loved it.
Oh
man.
my gosh!
And the one where he's on TV.
Can I ask you something?
Certainly. Who gives a fuck what you think?
Oh man.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? It just changes. That's so good, man.
And like when we did the first review, I remember saying, I was just like, I love Freddy here. He's in the shadows. He's dark. He's not that, because it does get a little too much. In the future sequels, he gets a little too over the top, but I feel like I do want my Freddy Krueger to be funny and be wisecracking, because this is what it's all about. I feel like this is peak Freddy Krueger right here.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. He's got just the right amount of just punch and just wit. And it never really gets old either.
It really doesn't. Did you see my T-shirt? I got the cover of
I love
Dream
it,
Warriors. Matthew Joseph Peak did all the cover art for the first 5 films. So, you know, that first one, you got Nancy Thompson laying in bed, and you got the hand, and then you got Jesse turning on the second one, and then you got the Dream Warriors third one. Love his art. Dawkins did a Dream Warriors video. You probably heard it when you watched the movie, but they did a video. Patricia Arquette was in it. So was Freddy Krueger. And yeah, they said that they were high the entire time during that movie. During filming that, and they said they did cocaine off of a full makeup Freddy Krueger they did cocaine off his little claw and everything.
The 80s, man.
The 80s. Another story that I heard is so they were finishing up one of their last days filming, and they got 2 grips that were acting like they were the crew. Turns out that they were just fans of the Freddy Krueger franchise. They had broke in and they stole the original glove that Wes Craven made. And it was made in the first films. He had it hanging on his wall, but they used it for close-ups, so it looked like real metal type of things. And so not only did they get to see a day behind the scenes of the new Freddy movie that was coming out, but they also stole a artifact of the Freddy Krueger franchise.
Legends.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors captures the magic of the original film that the second installment completely fumbled. I've also said that Freddy is at his best when he's haunting dreams and forcing his victims to act out horrors in the real world while onlookers watch helplessly. This movie nails that. The special effects, the gore, the claymation, all peak for the series. I love the choice to set the story in a psychiatric ward while still hearkening back to Nancy Thompson's childhood home. Adding Freddy's twisted backstory deepens his mythology without taking away from the terror. We start to see Freddy become a little playful here, but never over the top like in later entries. It's a perfect balance. Aside from the Wizard Master moment feeling a bit cringy, in my opinion, this is peak Freddy Krueger. Heather Langenkamp's return as Nancy Thompson brings her character full circle, and the film feels like the creative team thought of everything. This movie is pure 80s horror gold, 13 out of 13 for A Nightmare on Elm Street. Dream Warriors. And I know you're going to say it's just because I met Heather Langenkamp and we have this relationship now and stuff. And we don't.
And she probably thinks about your meeting all the time.
Yeah.
And will we ever be at a horror con again?
She was texting me earlier and she's like, so when are y'all coming out with Dream Warriors? And I was like, hey, it's coming out soon. And she goes,
you got to give us some time, Nan.
She was like, what are you going to give us? What rating are you going to give it? And I was just like, I don't know. Just check it out and you'll see. So here we are.
All right. So I'll get into mine. So what a way to wrap up sequel September, man, with an absolute banger of a movie. I really... we don't often watch horror movies that are also just good movies. There's a few of them that we've talked about. It, Chapter 1, The Exorcist. Those are just good standalone movies, all as well as good horror movies. And this falls into that category for me. The other thing that this movie did was really make you care about the characters. Friday the 13th did an okay job. This knocked it out of the park. And compare this to Scream 2 that we just did. You could not pay me to give a crap about the new cast of characters from Scream 2, right? except the ones left over from the first movie, right? But this movie made you love it. This movie had me hating that old lady doctor.
Oh yeah.
And she was trying to be helpful. That's just really good writing.
Yeah.
Fantastic practical effects, killer soundtrack, and a punchy, fun Krueger make this a great watch. For me, it's the standard for sequels that I will compare other sequels to, Tony, in the horror genre. I'm also going to give this a 13 out of 13 donuts. Good job.
Yay, Dream Warriors. A perfect 13, a horror movie classic. That's amazing. I love that. What a way to finish Sequel September, just like you said. Man.
Really, man. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, that's great. If you haven't seen Dream Warriors, we've already kind of spoiled a little bit of it, but go watch it. Go watch it, enjoy it for what it is, so we don't spoil it, and then come back and listen to the podcast because we're about to go scene by scene, spoiling this thing. Are you ready, Chris?
Let's do it, man.
Start with Kristen alone at night, putting the finishing touches on a model of a familiar old house. She's eating instant coffee and trying to stay awake. Eventually, she drifts off to sleep in her dream that she finds herself standing in front of that same house. Inside, it's dark, broken down, and crawling with a kid's voices. Freddy appears and chases her. When she awakes, she's holding a razor, her wrist slashed. Her mother thinks that she is a suicide attempt, but Kristen swears it wasn't.
And I can appreciate something going on with the credits when the credits are rolling. I feel like, we've been doing a lot of research and watching the movies for Halloween, right?
Yes.
And every one of the Halloweens is just an orange text and a pumpkin on the side, and it's just like 5 minutes of credits. This is like, has some music going on. There's like a close up of all this paper mache, and you're just like, what the hell is this person doing? Like, what is this goop? What is this? What's she doing? There's popsicle sticks and all this stuff. So it's really interesting opening, and then when you see the finished product, it's like, man, okay, that's the old Krueger house. That's cool, man.
Really cool. And I agree with you there. I love that she's like sitting there, she's mixing up the plaster, and you're like, is that bread? What is she gonna do with that? And then she's like, yeah, and she's like getting her hands all goopy and stuff. She's just trying to stay busy because she's trying to stay awake. And like you said, the credits are rolling. Halloween 4 has some really cool Halloween shots. We've talked about that. And I believe Halloween 5 has Michael Myers floating down a river while the credits are going. In one of the funniest Halloween scenes.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. Anyway. But yeah, she's you meet her and Kristen, and she's her mom gets home from a date, and her mom's like, "Why are you still awake? It's 1 o'clock in the morning." She goes, I was just staying up waiting on you. She goes, well, don't. I have somebody downstairs. She seems like just pushes her little girl to the side, like Kristen.
Yeah.
And she even alludes to the fact that Kristen's just looking for attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she goes, can I stay with you, or will you sleep with me, or something like that? She's obviously scared of going to bed. Her mom just writes her off. I like the guy down at the bottom of the stairs. He's like, where do you put the bourbon? And like so good. And that comes into play a little bit later.
Because like, that she said like, hey, give me just a second. I need to go check on my daughter, make sure she's asleep.
Oh yeah.
And then like, as soon as she gets up there, he's like, where's the bourbon?
Where's the bourbon? So good. That dream opens up. One thing I want to add to that dream. How about the little girl on the tricycle? How freaking creepy is that?
Oh yeah.
And she circles the porch and then goes in. Oh, I'm like, oh, don't go in there. No. little kids in horror movies are so creepy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, and it doesn't really talk about it, but like she's kind of running from Freddy. She's running into like people hanging. There's like other little kids in the front yard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The jingle 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, all that stuff. So it really just it just brings you straight back to the first one. And I want to say that this one just acts like number 2 never happened, right?
Right. Exactly.
Okay,
Which
good.
most people
Good.
should. No, I'm just joking. Number 2 gets a lot of hate. I don't think it's the worst film ever. And as a standalone Freddy film, it's got some good points to it. So I'm not going to just sit here and trash number 2.
We gave it 7s. We gave Nightmare on Elm Street 2 both 7s.
Worth a watch.
So if you have time.
Young Kristen has been admitted to Weston Hills Psychiatric Hospital. A puzzling epidemic of teenage suicides is sweeping the town of Springwood. 6 other teenagers are in special wards, all of them apparently suicidal. The fast-talking Kincaid, Will, who's in a wheelchair, the quiet and gentle Joey, Jennifer, who wants to be a TV star, Taryn, a former junkie who's been in and out of juvenile hall, and Phillip, a sleepwalker.
And we talked about it before, but yeah, these guys just kind of, they all have their unique personality. The movie makes you really care about them because they're all kind of going through something.
Yes.
Like each one of them, like you have a sleepwalker, you have an ex-drug addict, you have, people who are recovering from other stuff, and they all have this sleep issue that they're trying to fix. And even that doctor who's like walking the hall, he's like super friendly with him. He's like, hey, she's like, hey, when can I get my cigarette privilege back? He's like, I don't hold your breath, but we're working with you. So, but anyway, it really made you like that Dr. Gordon too, because he was just super nice to all these kids.
Yeah, and you got Lawrence Fishburne as well, who is who's a nurse or
orderly.
Yeah, like an orderly. Yeah, sure. I love the fact how Freddy always makes it look like you're committing suicide. So you know what I mean? So it always on the outside to everybody, even from the first one. You remember the dude hanging himself in his cell, and you remember like Tina, like all the blood, and I just love that fact about it. This one is just making them all look crazy. Yeah, like you said, Dr. Neil Gordon trying to get the bottom of it. He seems like he's but both doctors seem like they're on the side of the patients here, and the patients on the surface just seem mean. You know what I mean? Seem like they're just troubled teens.
Yeah, you almost have like good cop, bad cop with the doctors, right? Like you have Gordon, who's nice guy, and then you have the other lady who's a little older. I forget her name, but I'll remember it here in a minute. But anyway, yeah, and she's kind of like the more strict, like, get to bed. Y'all are all thinking of this as crazy, and even Gordon thinks that a little bit later on, where he's kind of pretty harsh, but anyway, you can tell that one's good, one's kind of like mean,
right? And they have a conversation off to the side talking about a new psychiatrist or new doctor that's going to show up to kind of help because they're having these issues with the dreams. And so here we go. Dr. Neil Gordon is perplexed by this motley crew of teenagers and their overwhelming fear of what seems to be a shared nightmare. No one has come up with any answers, but when Nancy Thompson joins the staff, things begin to change. A specialist in dream disorders, she was the only survivor of an early epidemic of suicides, and she seems to know things that the other doctors don't. She knows that the kids are being tormented by the grisly spirit of Freddy Krueger, a child murderer who brutally burned to death by a vigilante mob several years ago, and who is now wreaking his revenge on the children of those who killed him. That's quite a stretch there to believe.
His name was Fred Krueger, and we burned him.
But he can't get you now. He's dead, honey, because Mommy killed him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the mom.
Nancy's mom from the first one.
It was that Fred Krueger. So funny. But yeah, this one, when they bring Nancy back, I bet everybody in the theater was just clapping. Yeah, here we go. But what do you think? I mean, is she kind of trying to bang this doctor, or what are they? I mean, it shows them in a few different scenes, right?
They're on like dates. Like meeting. Yeah, or there's like a fire,
like candlelit dinner.
Yeah, but they never move. Nothing ever happens. They're just like always set up in these romantic locations, but nothing really happens between them. I don't know if they had to cut some of those, or maybe there was a romantic thing going on. They had to cut that down. I have no idea, but
yeah, it almost seems like it.
But you got Patricia Arquette, who is like they're trying to like calm her down, and she's singing the song 1, 2. He's, what I mean, Freddy's coming for you, and Nancy Thompson kind of in the doorway finishes the song, and then gives Patricia Arquette a hug and calms her down, and you're just like, man, we are going to get to the bottom of this. And it's
she stabs her with the syringe to put her to sleep. Now you remember that she pulled a slick on old Nancy.
No, that never happened. That never happened. She's like, she puts a straitjacket on her. That's so funny. But so Nancy Thompson shows up, but she doesn't, like everything that we just talked about, like her backstory and everything. She's very slow to reveal this to Dr. Gordon. She doesn't just come out and say all these stuff. He has to kind of first off, he's trying to understand how she knows all these things. So he kind of goes back to his house and he's like looking up her backstory on his personal computer from 1987.
When they had that meet cute, she drops those pills out of her purse, and then he remembers that. So he's searching that drug online.
What were the pills
and
called? Man, it was Hypnosil.
Yeah, Hypnosil. That's a pretty good name.
Yeah, Hypnosil. It was such a it's a new drug and it hasn't been ran through the FDA quite yet. So they're a little, Yeah. And Nancy Thompson at one point is like, "Hey, Dr. Gordon, we got to get these kids on Hypnosil, or they're going to kill themselves. Things are going to happen here pretty fast." Her first night in the hospital, Kristen has a nightmare in which Freddy takes her to the house on Elm Street, where his old nemesis Nancy used to live, in the shape of a venomous snake. He's about to devour Kristen when she calls to Nancy for help. Miraculously, she's able to pull Nancy into her dream and saved.
That's a pretty cool little 80s graphic effect where she falls through that chair. What did you think of old snake form Freddy?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was so good.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, you didn't like that? You weren't a fan?
That was just my least favorite form of him, was just a snake. I mean, it worked, but I was just kind of like, okay, pretty cool. But
I mean, this is 1988 Beetlejuice would come out, the Beetlejuice snake and stuff like that. This was like peak.
That's true.
This is peak. This not CGI. This is peak freaking practical effects for horror films. So he was wet. He was trying to swallow her up. She walks into this house. There's this pig on a platter who like comes to life and tries to bite her, and then she's like, I don't know, there's just really cool effects that she goes through. She goes, Nancy, and Nancy's just at home reading a book, and she falls into the stair. She grabs some glass and starts stabbing Freddy, and that's how they're saved.
Yeah, and then when she wakes up, she can see that her hand is cut.
Oh yeah,
and then she knows it's, oh shit, Freddy's back.
And then the next day she goes to Kristen. She goes, "How did you do that? How long have you been able to do this?" And she goes, "When I was younger, I used to pull my dad into my dreams, and I would do that, and he would save me. And he acted like they were his dreams, and I would act like I didn't remember." She goes, "But one day I just stopped." And then you have to ask why. Why did you stop after they got a divorce? Why didn't you just keep using him?
Yeah.
What stopped you? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Group therapy sessions at the hospital. They're not going well, Chris. Nancy tries to convince the other doctors that the monstrous presence in the kids' dreams is real, but they don't believe her. The next night, Phillip falls asleep and sleepwalking under Freddy's power, jumps from the hospital bell tower to his death. Next on Freddy's hit list is Jennifer, who rams her head into the TV set after seeing Freddy's face on the screen, allegedly.
And man, these two kills are the most memorable. And Phillip, he was the first kind of one that you got to know, because they're all kind of talking to Lawrence, which I forget his character's name, but Max or something. I think it's Max.
Yeah.
But they're all trying to, he's walking around, tell him to get to bed, and they're all doing their own thing, and he's really friendly with them too. But you kind of get some backdrop of Phillip's little story there too, and it just makes him just immediately likable. And then we talked about it earlier, man. These two kills are just kind of the best, and just most memorable, and a likable character that it happened to.
Yeah, Joseph, he goes ahead and tells you that he's known for sleepwalking. And so this is an issue. I love how the kids buddy up, and I forgot their names. The mute kid and the wizard master. They both go, "Are you going to take the first shift, and I'll take the second shift?" So one of the kids stays up and watches, and he goes, "If I even whimper, wake me up." Well, anyway, Kincaid and Joseph don't do that, because Joseph starts his sleepwalking, and Kincaid goes, "Whatever, go have fun." But because it just looks like this. But this marionette puppet of Freddy comes to life, and it's like claymation, crawls up onto the bed, and it just takes the veins, I guess. Is it veins or tendons?
I think it's tendons, yeah.
Out of his arm, and just walks him.
And
walks him through the door. The door's locked. It walks him through it like it's magical.
Yeah.
And you kind of see Freddy up there doing it. It shows a graphic of him doing this. But and
he cuts them.
Oh yeah, all the kids kind of gather to this room, and they're screaming out the window. They bust the window open. They're all screaming. trying to wake him up, but it just
Yeah, because while Joey doesn't talk, he like grabs he runs up to the nurse and grabs her like food tray, and then he's like smacking each door on his way down the hall. So Joey's the one who's running through, and then he's paired up with Will, I believe, in the wheelchair. So anyway, they're the first two to kind of see Phillip up there, and so they run for help.
And then you have Jennifer, who during the group therapy said she's going to be a movie star one day, and she kind of cons Lawrence Fishburne to let her stay up in the TV room. And he's like, "Man, if they find out about that, they're going to have my ass." She's like, "Please." So she's like smoking cigarette butts, and like you said earlier, she even goes to like burning herself to kind of keep herself awake. And you kind of see just how tormented these kids are. They don't want to go to sleep because this is awful. I mean, they're burning themselves with cigarettes. They're drinking dried coffee. They're taking shifts to just not go to sleep. And again, that's what makes Freddy great. I mean, let's be real.
You just don't want to go to sleep. Like, you're trying everything to not go to sleep. I mean, and even just like when you take shifts, you have a risk still. I mean, he could still get you. And obviously it happened with Phillip here. But even those kids taking shifts, like, man, that could happen to you too. Yeah,
that's the truth. And she's watching the Dick Cavett show, and you got Shah-Jacques Shabor or whatever her name is on there. And anyway, what happens after that?
So he picks her up, right? Or she's watching it, and then
Dick Cavett turns into Freddy.
Yeah, Dick Cavett's like, nobody gives a fuck what you think, and then claws at her, right? And then Jennifer's just kind of sitting there like, what? And then it reaches out with these like wires and metal rods and stuff, and picks her up, draws her in, and then just welcome to prime time, bitch. And then
right into the
facing the screen.
One of the
because his head comes up, right?
Good.
Like his head comes up out of the top of the TV, and it's all
it's
plastic around him.
So good.
Antennas come out of his head. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's probably one of the most iconic Freddy scenes of all time. It's up there.
Yeah, it's visual.
Yeah, as far as that goes, it's just really good. Desperate to help the kids, Nancy tells Neil the truth. This time he believes her. Together they ask Kristen to help them by using her psychic gift and drawing all of them into the same dream. Through hypnosis, they enter a dream state, but Freddy is too quick for them. He lures Joey away and starts to torture him. He uses like a hot nurse to like lure him away, which I think any teenager would have just been powerless against it. I mean, what could you do?
I was powerless.
And you're like, I'm a grown adult and I was powerless against it. Suddenly the session's interrupted and Joey's life is saved almost. Furious with Nancy and Neil for their unorthodox methods, the hospital administrator fires them both while Joey's lying in a coma.
And you talked on it a minute ago, but just egregious nudity here with Nurse Marcy, totally uncalled for, unwanted, unwarranted 80s nudity that really hurts this film. Not at all amused or aroused with her perfect body. Yuck. Actress Stacey Alden, who played that nurse, she was not in anything else of note, so don't bother looking her up because I already did. She was in one episode of Married with Children and one episode of Full House and another movie called Grotesque, and that is it, Tony. There's no other movies that she's in. I just wanted to go ahead and let you know.
You have her full biography in front of you the screen. You've got more notes on her than you do the entire Freddy movie. No,
I was holding back on the facts for that one bit.
That's like all your notes, and then your notes for her, you're clicking down. You're like, hold on, that's page 1. Let me click to page 2.
No, let me get there.
Oh, and she turns into Freddy. She uses she's making out with him and that long tongue that you see. I mean, it was in the first one. And then the tongues actually wrap up on Joey's arms and wrap him up. And it's really cool.
And what does Freddy say?
What does he say?
What does Freddy say? He says, "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue or tongue tied or something like that?" What's the matter, Joey? Tongue tied?
That sounds like something that's something a dad would say, isn't it? Man.
Yes, sir. Freddy with the dad jokes.
Yeah, come on, Freddy. You're better than that. What's wrong, Joey? Tongue-tied. That's so good. I love Freddy's voice in this. And first off, I just want to say we haven't mentioned Robert Englund. I mean, he told a magazine that he plans this to be his last A Nightmare on Elm Street. And again, Wes Craven wrote this like it was going to be the last. obviously this made way too much money for New Line to ever not have sequels. And even at the end of this, Robert Englund was like, I'd be open to doing another one. I wouldn't,
No, I guess I'll do it again.
I guess I'll do it again. But Robert Englund
being a cultural hit.
Robert Englund, he embodies Freddy Krueger. I mean, I can't say enough about him. He's so good in this.
Yeah.
And it switches between like a muffled voice, like something that they've layered and kind of lowered down. You know what I mean? Like that. And in between his voice, you know, and it works. And it's really cool. And I love it.
Yeah.
So Joey's sitting there in a coma. They're both fired. But anyway, they should have been fired when 2 of the kids died by suicide. You know, come on.
Right. Like they can get away with deaths, but like once a kid's in a coma, they're like, hang on a second.
You got to go.
What kind of outfit you running here?
You coming in here and you're using hypnotism? Hypnotism? That's fine. You know what? Get out of here. Get out of here. You're not going to use hypnotism.
You got the little swinging pendulum thing, huh?
I saw the balls swinging in there. I ain't going to do it. You can kill kids on my watch, but you're not going to be hypnotizing. I'll tell you that. So stupid. As Neil is leaving the hospital, he sees a mysterious nun and follows her into an abandoned wing of the hospital. The nun tells him that the story of a young woman who many years ago was raped repeatedly by a group of criminally insane inmates in the now desolate wing. The woman gave birth to a son. His name was Freddy Krueger. The nun's sister, Mary Helena, counsels Neil to use faith, not just science, to conquer Freddy, and tells him to bury Freddy's remains in hollowed ground in order to break his murderous rampage.
So what do you think of the nurse angle and his backstory? I mean, it gives us a reason of why he is the way he is, maybe, right? I mean, not how he has power over dreams or anything, but why someone could be super evil like that, you know what I mean? What do you think about that?
So, he's the bastard son of is it 100 or 1,000 maniacs?
The bastard son of 100 maniacs.
Which I'm not sure if they knew that that's not how conception works in human beings. Now, in cats, a female cat can give birth to many different kittens that are fathered by several different males in one litter.
I did not know that.
But in humans, that typically doesn't happen. I don't know if they had the science back in 1987 to know that Freddy Krueger was probably not the bastard. He was definitely the bastard son of at least one maniac, but 100, probably not. No, I just say I think it's a cool angle. And Sister Mary Helena, we find out a little bit more about her and how she's pertinent to the story a little bit later. I think it's great. I think it's cool. And without going backwards to give Freddy a like a flashback of a backstory, this is the best thing that you can do. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Nancy and Neil seek out Nancy's father, Donald Thompson, who was one of the vigilantes who killed Freddy, and he's the only person who can tell them where Freddy's bones are hidden. He takes Neil to a deserted auto junkyard where they find the remains. In a desperate race against time, Neil digs a makeshift grave and gives Freddy the hallowed burial that will free him and his victims forever, but not before Krueger impales Thompson on the fin of a 50s Cadillac.
Is it weird that this synopsis is oddly specific about that car? It's like, it was the 50s hatchback with a spoiler exhaust with a V6 in it.
Yeah.
That's anyway. But I like how Freddy just like he's fighting people in the dream world, and then he's like, hang on a second, and he like pieces out and goes to the real world to like save his bones.
Exactly. And
he's like, hang on, somebody's in the junkyard.
So Nancy and Dr. Gordon both got fired. So but they know that the kids are in danger. So they got to figure out a way to save them. So Nancy goes, I know somebody who knows where Krueger's remains are, but it's my dad. Anyway, she hasn't talked to her dad in a long time. He's a drunk, blah, 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 all this good stuff. So they go find Mr. Paxton, who is drunk at the bar. And anyway, he's not willing to help. But at the same time, Dr. Gordon goes, Nancy, go ahead. I'm going to talk to him. And he roughs him up a little bit. He's kind of rough with him. He's like, you're going to help your daughter. And Nancy goes off and she's like, I'm going to jump into some dreams and we're going to start dream warrioring. So the kids and Nancy are dream warrioring while Dr. Gordon and Nancy Thompson's dad are heading to the junkyard to find Freddy's remains, which are in the back of a car. But they stop by a church and they get a few items to help them with the burial because they got to make this a Christian burial, and that's what Sister Helena was kind of hinting at. They get a cross and they grab some holy water as well.
Yeah, it's got to be a proper sanctioned burial, is what they say.
Yeah.
So,
but I love this.
Pretty cool. And then Nancy has to like break into, not really break in, but when she goes back to the ward, Max is like, "Look, you're fired. Like you can't see the kids." So she has to kind of smooze her way past all those little security details to get to see the kids again. So she finally gets most of them back into a room,
and they do a
she
session.
She can't get to Joey because he's in the coma.
Yeah,
but she can at least get the other group session and where they can do straight talk only in here.
And, I want to say they put Patricia Arquette into a room by herself, right?
She was already in a padded room.
Yeah, they put her in a padded room.
Drugged her up.
Yeah, they drugged her up. Yeah. That's what it was. So anyway, they find her in the dream. So that's cool. But like you said, the claymation of Freddy's bones, when they find it, he just like he's we'll get to where he's in the dream fighting them, but he comes back as this he can possess his bones here on the earth, and he can start fighting these two, which I don't know why he hasn't done this before, but maybe just because they disturbed his bones, he was allowed to do it. But
we can't get out of the trunk. The trunk didn't have one of those latches, and
they didn't make that a law where you have to put those latches.
Didn't have that.
Yeah, that would come later. But Freddy, we find out that he's stronger than ever as well. So because he raises up his shirt and he goes, "The children, their souls give me power." You know what I mean? So that's a new lore added to the old Freddy lore.
And I think it's a great one too.
Oh,
I think it's a great one.
It looks so
like
cool.
As you're trying to kill him, he kills other kids. He's getting stronger.
He's getting stronger and stronger as he takes on souls, and he really is. He's whipping ass in this one. He is whipping everybody. It doesn't matter what power you have. It doesn't matter if you're in the earthly realm. He's just whipping everybody. In the meantime, Nancy and the surviving children, they decide to hypnotize themselves into the most terrifying nightmare yet. Grown even stronger because of his recent killings, Freddy preys on their deepest fears. Taryn and Will are momentarily let down their guard, and they're killed. The remaining Dream Warriors save Joey from Freddy's loathsome boiler room pit and escape, but Freddy's not through with them. Nancy sees the ghost of her father, embraces him, only to find that it's Freddy, and he's tricked her. And as his horrifying form emerges from Thompson's spirit, he buries his claw hand into Nancy's stomach. Seconds before Neil, across town in the junkyard, buries his skeleton. And as he does so, Freddy's deformed body is shot through with light. His soul and the souls of his victims are free. Freddy Krueger is gone.
Wow, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy, man. That was a lot to unpack. So let's do it. Let's starting off with like Taryn, right? Like her fight. You could tell she's a recovering addict, right? And then Freddy does that iconic. He whips out and his claws are like syringes, and he's like, "Let's get high."
Yeah, and and
it's such a crazy fight.
The sores on her arms.
Oh yeah,
where she used to,
where like
she
mouths.
used to like shoot herself up like her mouths, and they're like thirsting for his drugs, and so and he takes it and just like and puts it in her arm and like kills her. He just ODs her, which is nuts, man.
Yeah, he does.
It's so sad.
And then I like that fight a lot better than the Will fight. I did have a cool fact that Taryn, who is played by none other than Jennifer Rubin, she said that like at one of the cons and stuff like that, some people would come up and say like that her character helped them get off drugs, and she was always like really proud of that.
Oh
fact.
Wow, that's really
cool.
cool.
I mean, if you think about it, in the 80s and stuff, drugs everywhere. You see something like that, it probably grosses you out. You're like, oh, okay, I want to stay off of that stuff. But anyway, so she was always really proud of that fact. That is one fact I wanted to get in there. But
I like that.
I did like her fight a lot more than the one with Will. That was a stupid fight with the Count Chocula cape.
Yeah,
and he's like, by the power of the elves and something, and he like tries to blast Freddy, and he's just like, look, kid, I ain't got time for this shit.
Kind of just like makes quick work of him. So what does Kincaid do? Except something heavy and hit Freddy with it, I think, but it didn't do much. It didn't do much work, I don't think.
Yeah, it didn't do much. And then he was like saving people by lifting heavy stuff off of them when they got trapped, stuff like that.
That's true. And then,
and what about this having the guts to kill off Nancy, man? Like that's a crazy turn of events.
Yeah, it is. Doesn't Nancy play a part in his demise? It wasn't just them burying his bones. Doesn't she stab him with his own claw?
Yeah, stabs with her own claw.
They
So
didn't mention
she like
that.
stabbed those little faces that were there. Yeah. After she gets stabbed, she takes the claw and then she buries it into his stomach as well.
Oh, nice. And then at that exact moment, her dad and Dr. Gordon gets the bones into the dirt, and he puts the cross on the head of Freddy's
There's
bones.
the holy water in there, yeah.
And then Freddy just starts spinning, and these lights are coming out, and all of a sudden, it's a really cool effect there. But yeah, they took out Nancy Thompson, man. I mean, that's huge. That's freaking huge.
Pretty wild. Yeah, I think they bring her back later on in the other movies as something else. But
yeah,
what?
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
they're in these hall of mirrors, and then so Freddy grabs them one by one when they finally they're in a group together. So Freddy like pulls them into the mirrors, and at that very moment, Joey just screams, "Ah!" And then all the mirrors break, and it releases all of the kids. So he kind of has a moment there.
That's a pretty cool little effect too. I like that where they're dragged in there like kind of one by one, like you said.
Yeah.
And then as he screams, they all just kind of get chucked back into this hall. So that's a pretty cool little like Joey saved the day.
So our survivors are Kincaid, Joey, and Kristen. Right?
Yep.
Oh, the battle-scarred survivors, Kincaid, Joey, and Kristen, stand next to their friends' graves with Neil at their side. He sees the nun and follows her to a tombstone carved with the name Amanda Krueger. Her name in Christ, Sister Mary Helena. She was the woman who was raped. He realizes that she was Freddy's mother all along. And in the final scene, after that, you find out, Gordon finds out that he was talking to Amanda Krueger the whole time. She's a ghost. She was walking around like that. And then the last scene is just Dr. Gordon falling asleep in his bed. He's able to sleep, but then a light turns on in that model house that we were seeing at the very beginning, and which kind of alludes to the fact that maybe Freddy's not altogether gone.
Maybe he's not gone. Yeah. I mean, you gotta have more sequels, man. And what a good movie, man. That was just it's a really fun ride. So like if you haven't seen it, of course, we definitely recommend you check it out. And if you have, go watch it again. Man, I'm probably gonna actually go back and buy this one. I could see me putting this one on in like the rotation while like the kid and stuff is running around the neighborhood trick or treating. I might have this on while, making chili or something on Halloween night. I always have a few movies in the rotation on Halloween night and stuff like that.
And you're always making chili too. So where did the chili come into Halloween?
It's
what was
tradition, that? Man.
Gotta have
tradition. It's just that.
Gotta have
that
chili
time of year where it's it's chilly outside, so make some chili in the house, man.
Chili on Halloween. And I just saw something that I wanted to talk to you about. Trick or Treat is going to be in movie theaters on, I want to say, the 15th and the 16th, and don't quote me on those dates. It's a Tuesday and Wednesday in October, and it's around the 14th or 15th. And I was going to ask you, I was like, man, do you want to go see Trick or Treat in the movie theaters at like a Regal or something like that? But I don't know. I don't know.
Man,
check the old schedule out, but I think that would be really cool. Trick or Treat is such a good Halloween horror movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It would be one that I would want to go see for sure. That'd be great. See it on the big screen. That'd be awesome. I'm definitely gonna look at that.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for watching. If you like horror movies,
click one of these movies on your screen.